Hello all and welcome to our daily news show, The Big Story, where we talk about the hottest topics of today right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Kimberly Jiao coming to you live from the Straits Times, and we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so do leave us a comment, like and share it with your friends, as well as hit that bell to be told whenever we go live. I'll be joined by a couple of my newsroom colleagues to discuss what got you talking today. Our first story. A bill has been passed to pave the way for the launch of CareShield Life next year, which is a compulsory long-term care insurance for Singapore residents born from 1980 onwards. With us to shed more light on the matter is senior health correspondent Salma. Hello.
Hello, Kimberly.
So there are going to be a lot of shields out there right now, and it's going to be kind of confusing. So could you break it down for us?
Actually, it's very easy. Anything that has the word shield means it's an insurance. So primarily there are just two: MediShield Life for medical problems, CareShield for long-term care. But there is a third one called ElderShield, which will be stopped in a couple of years' time. Okay. In fact, CareShield sort of takes over what ElderShield now does. And the reason they wanted to do that is because ElderShield currently is run by 3 different insurance companies, although you can still use your Medisave to pay for the premiums, and it's limited to either 5 years or 6 years of payouts. And they found about 10% of people actually live beyond that period, so they want the money for longer.
Right.
So the government says, fine, we'll take over and we'll call it CareShield Life, giving you payout for life.
I see.
Okay. Do you want a basic rundown on CareShield Life?
Yes, please.
Okay, what happens is from next year, everybody who's aged 30 to 40 will automatically join. It's compulsory. And then thereafter, it's when you hit your 30th birthday, you join. You pay annual premiums until the age of 67, and then you stop. And that will cover you for the rest of your life. If anything happens to you, if you get severe disability and you need help with daily living, you will get at least $600 a month forever, or until your disability goes away. Now, disability does go away. For example, if you're young, right, you're 30, 40, you get into an accident, you get a fracture, you are immobilized for over a year and you can't do anything, but you recover eventually, you'll get payment for that period, and then when you recover, the payment stops, and then you continue paying premiums, right? Why do I say from 600? It's because in year 2020, the payout will start at 600, and then it goes up by 2% a year for the first 5 years. And it'll keep going up, but eventually there will be a council that will decide how much it goes up by. And that is so that it offsets inflation. You don't want to be stuck at $600 a year. 20 years from now, it doesn't mean the same thing. It can't buy the same amount, right?
Right.
Easy?
Hopefully the viewers at home got all of that. But you've mentioned earlier that,
Yes.
ever since you hit a certain age, it's going to be compulsory, and it's not an opt-in system, everyone's in. And there are concerns about that compulsoriness of it, and there are also concerns that it impacts also those that don't live in Singapore.
Yes.
What do you think of these concerns?
Actually, that has been raised before, and the government has explained why they insist that Singaporeans living overseas, if you do not give up your citizenship, you will be on CareShield Life. And that's because the money is given to you as cash. So you do not need to be in Singapore. It's not like it pays for a certain treatment or anything. So supposing I'm living in country X, and then you become disabled, and a doctor there has certified that you are unable to do these activities. If the doctor's certification meets the standards here, you will then get your payout sent to you on a monthly basis. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can still benefit. So there's no reason to opt out, right?
Right, so it doesn't matter which country you live in, because the money will come to you anyway.
The money will go to you anyway.
I see.
Yeah.
So we've said a lot about CareShield Life and the different insurances. So if you'd like to know more about it and be clearer about it, you do head on to our website, www.straitstimes.com, to read Salma's full article. Thanks for sharing more with us, Salma.
Sure.
Our next story. Public housing projects like Pinnacle at Duxton entered the spotlight recently when 9,000 public and private residential flats were announced to be built on the land now occupied by the Keppel Club. This interest is due to something known as the lottery effect. And with us to expound on this term is senior correspondent Elin. Hello.
Hi.
Could you elaborate on what the lottery effect is?
Okay. I think this term was made sort of popular with the Pinnacle at Duxton Estate. So when it was first launched, it was very exciting. It was a very unusual, refreshingly unusual public housing estate, and it got a lot of attention. And for the 1,800 units available, it was very well oversubscribed. I think there were about 5,000 applicants. So what happened was, in order to, so what happened was, HDB decided that it would go through a balloting system, and that's how people got the units. And then it was also predicted that these people would get a windfall, and indeed they did. As we have seen in recent years, homeowners who have sold, have made a lot of money, and thereby giving us this term, the lottery effect.
Right. So it's getting that big amount of money from this luck of the draw situation, right?
That's right.
So why is it so controversial?
Well, it's controversial because these are HDB flats, so obviously they are taxpayer subsidized. So it brings on the question: should taxpayer money be used to enrich people? People who are benefiting from public housing. So that's the question. The other controversy that's connected to it also is the balloting system is not exactly completely impartial, because there are certain categories of people who are given some priority. For example, people who are in that area and who are displaced, their children, grassroots leaders, first-time home buyers, so they get a slight priority in the balloting system. So it's not completely impartial. So that again draws some controversy.
Right, because it's giving them certain benefits that other people may not have. So is it problematic, would you say, for people to see this as sort of a money-making venture or like an investment venture?
Okay, now there is a whole spectrum of views, and when you ask that question. So on one end of the spectrum, some people feel, why not? Why begrudge the winner of this lottery? Just let them enjoy the luck of the draw. After all, many people have won the lottery, and why deprive others? Okay, and then there's the other end that says, no, this is public money subsidized. We really, especially if it's for a development that we can see has great potential, such as the coming HDB flats that we built on the Keppel Club site. Some people are saying, no, maybe that piece of land should be dedicated only to private housing, and make people pay for it. So why should the taxpayer be subsidizing this kind of housing? And then there is yet a very interesting view, and this thing I chanced upon actually whilst researching this article. We actually dug up a very old clipping from more than 30 years ago, and it's something that the late former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew actually said, and he was actually talking then about how he talked about how HDB then didn't have a sophisticated pricing mechanism, that it was building 1-2 room rental flats, on reclaimed land on Marine Parade and selling them for a song, And so he said, you don't have a proper pricing mechanism, and then he also went on to talk about how it's evident that, for example, resale flats in Tanjong Pagar and Whampoa, they are very different when it comes to resale prices. So, he was calling on the HDB to differentiate the, prices properly when making, when determining their sale prices. So that's something to think about too. Yeah.
Right. So whether differentiating the property prices is going to mitigate this sort of luck of the draw lottery effect.
Yes.
Right.
So, well, it remains to be seen. We don't know how the impacts of this just yet because it just sort of happened. But thanks for sharing more with us, Ian. And if you'd like to read more of these analysts and the full article, do head on again to our website. That's www.straitstimes.com. Our third story, an increasing number of seniors here are getting divorced after decades of marriage. The trend is said to be due to changing social attitudes to divorce and a greater willingness among women to assert their independence, according to experts. And with us to discuss this today is Senior Social Affairs Correspondent Teresa.
Hi.
Hello. So as mentioned, you spoke to some experts on this matter. So what do they say has changed about the climate?
First, I think the taboo of divorce has eased. Divorce is no longer such a big thing, because you have to remember that this pioneer generation, their parents, come from a generation where divorce is just not done. You married a guy, you live with him, you stick by him until he dies or you die. However unhappy you are, you just have to stay in the marriage. So that has changed, because women are increasingly educated, even among the Merdeka generation, the pioneer generation. And with that, they have more financial resources at hand. And then when they see that, their peers are also, ending their marriages, I think more of them are drawing strength and courage from that, to end a very unhappy marriage, if they so need be. And the other thing which I think counsellors have also pointed out is that a lot of these children are encouraging their parents or their moms, to be specific, to leave their fathers, who have treated them badly. And, these children are in their 30s, 40s, or even younger. And to them, divorce is like, it's not such a big thing. So you have all these changes in values taking place. Yeah.
Right. So what would you say is the impact of this trend?
I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot more seniors, spending the rest of their lives, their winter years alone. And the question is, do they have enough resources for that? I mean, do they have enough money, or more importantly, or some would say more importantly, enough, family support, emotional support, especially at the age where, you're old, you're weak, you're frail. It's kind of lonely, to live out, your final years alone. And I think the genie is out of the bottle. I don't think this trend will go away anytime soon, and I think the numbers will just continue to rise.
Right. And in fact, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but if we may refocus back, women happen to be the ones who are asking for these late in life divorces. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that's the question that many men are wondering. Why is my wife leaving me? I mean, when you talk to counsellors, they hear that a lot. Or the simple answer is that, many of these women have put out with their husbands for years. And, the children are grown, they have flown the nest, and, can't wait to get out of marriage. But the other thing which I think what counsellors are saying is that men are very happy status quo.
Okay.
So, unless they have another woman waiting in the wings, whom they are hoping to marry, or if they really cannot tolerate the wife anymore, they wouldn't want out, they wouldn't ask for a divorce. And what I find quite odd personally is that what lawyers and counsellors are saying is that, men of an older generation, in their 70s, 80s, some of them feel that as long as they bring home the bacon, they come back to their wives, they've done their part as husbands, as fathers. So, hey, even if I behave badly or I fool around outside, I hate to say this, but they probably feel it's their right. So why are you, asking for a divorce? But of course, obviously, the women see it very, very differently. And let me cite you an example. I mean, a lawyer was telling me about this case. So her client is a businessman in his 60s, and he has two families. A lawful wife, wedded wife, he has a few children. And he has a family with his mistress, also a few children. Okay. And to him, right, he has the best of both worlds, right? And his wife is like all accepting, and they even go on holiday together. So in his mind, everything's fine. And then the wife asked for a divorce. And he was very shocked, because he said, hey, we even go on holiday together.
Wait, the two families go on holiday together?
Yeah, it's very weird, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the lawyer is saying that, she suspects that the wife is probably just inwardly resentful of this, but, because the children were young at that time or growing up, she had to tolerate with that. But once, they are working and all that, she's not going to put up with his nonsense anymore. And the other thing which the lawyer suspect was that I think she was a bit concerned about division of property. So she wanted to make sure she get her fair share of their assets. So she's asking for a divorce. So, I mean, if you look at divorce stats overall, right, last year, I think about 2 in 3 divorces were initiated by women. I mean, regardless of age group. So yeah.
I see. So what we're observing is, you would say, sort of like an individual empowerment to pursue their own happiness rather than staying in some sort of, social institution of marriage.
Yeah.
I see. Well, thanks for sharing more with us, Teresa. And if you'd like more news and videos and other stories related to family, do head on to our website. That's www.straitstimes.com. And those are our top stories of the day. Once again, I'm Kimberly Jiao. Thank you for watching The Big Story, and we will see you tomorrow.